In the case of a snow emergency, the City of St. Cloud suggests that you park your car on the correct side of the road by reading the signs carefully. Otherwise, your car might be missing in the morning. With St. Cloud State athletes from a variety of sports helping tear down the Husky Dome, it marks the end of the winter. But there's a little more work involved than just turning off the air pressure. Although learning how to compete and dance is the main focus here at Ms. Melinda's Dance Studio, they also provide this space for kids to catch up on their schoolwork. The Minnesota State Senate is working to get drivers to keep their eyes on the road by implementing a hands-free law for cell phone use. The best thing to do? Keep your phone in your pocket. The St. Cloud State Huskies are off to a hot start so far this season with a 12-2 record going into conference play this weekend. And this ranking is giving them some national attention. But first, everything you need to know about the midterm elections and the historic day it was for women in government. Each year, the Jolly Trolley food drive takes place at various grocery stores in the St. Cloud area, bringing joy for the holidays. Although St. Cloud State and St. Cloud Tech are two different schools in the Granite City, they're working together to lift enrollment. The Minnesota Fall Maintenance Expo took place today in St. Cloud once again, making work seem like fun. With St. Cloud State athletes from a variety of sports helping tear down the Husky Dome, it marks the end of the winter. But there's a little more work involved than just turning off the air pressure.
3, 2, 1, pull!
If you were to drive by Husky Stadium right now, you'll probably notice there's a few less curves in the sky.
It's a team group effort, and a lot of sports, a lot of club sports, and you know, it's not an easy day.
What SCSU athletes know as Dome Takedown Day started at 6 a.m.
I think I'd rather be practicing.
And took 200 people to finish the process by 1 p.m. And there's plenty of work for everyone.
There's 6 massive sections. In each section, it takes about 120 people to move that section. There's 5,000 bolts, there's 10,000 plates, there's 26 cables that we're moving right now. Each cable, it takes about 75 people to move one cable.
St. Cloud State Athletics has been privileged to have this dome for 14 years, and it gives sports like football, soccer, baseball, softball, club sports, and others to practice and play year-round.
It is a luxury that we get this dome, so if we have to do it just one day, it's not too bad. It's just another day. We practice pretty early, so it's not that big of a deal to wake up an extra half an hour early.
This year's Dome Takedown Day was pushed back 8 days because of an unexpected snowfall in mid-April, and the athletic folks weren't disappointed with the change of date to procrastinate on the hard work.
It's really a group effort. We even had the athletic director, Heather Weems, out here this morning, and a couple of the assistant athletic directors out here, so it's like Heather calls it, all hands on deck kind of a day.
Although the hard work of pulling cables, folding tarps, and heavy lifting may not sound like fun, the athletes find a way to stay positive.
Having the teams that we have here, having the cohesiveness that we have is beautiful, and being able to kind of work with these people and get it all done is amazing. You know, we wouldn't be able to do it with any other group, so yeah.
From Husky Stadium in St. Cloud, Tony Langfellow,
1, 2, 3, go!
UTVS News. Hi, Tanya and Nick. I'm outside here in front of the current Tri-County Humane Society, where there's a lot of excitement building up about a new building they're trying to build for the animals with the help of some generous donations. And this building behind me will ultimately meet the wrecking ball. Small, inconvenient, uncomfortable, and old are just a few of the drawbacks at the Tri-County Humane Society shelter.
A facility that was originally built doing the best we could with what we had, and then we've added on a couple of times. So it's not a very smooth way of caring for the animal.
But with the magical help of donation money, that's all about to change with the construction of a new animal shelter.
We're going to build it on our current campus here, right behind our current building. It's going to be more space for the animals and more space for humane education programming, as well as having kind of a better HVAC system.
The current structure was built in 1989 with the very little money they have, but they have since grown out of it, with nearly 3,000 animals coming through in 2018 and almost 100 in the building now.
We tend to be elbow to elbow in some situations, and having more space will make our jobs a little bit easier, I think, and more efficient, and it should help lower the stress of the animals.
One of the biggest inconveniences for them now is having to transport animals from one building to another for surgery. in a shopping cart. But that's just one downfall.
Even the way we have it set up, like cat wards and dog wards, I have to walk to do even just a basic physical or medical treatment on a cat. I have to walk by barking dogs.
The new facility will be double the size of the current building, and it will have improved housing for the animals, humane education space, a dog park, surgery rooms, and much more. But none of this is possible without the care of people.
A group of staff that really lives and believes in the mission. It's just so inspiring to be part of something like that. And who can resist puppies and kitties, right? That was really part.
When they finally do move out of this nearly 30-year-old structure, they're going to tear down this building and the area around here, and they're going to put in a dog park. And then starting in the fall of 2019, that's where they're going to have their groundbreaking. And then they hope to be open by the spring of 2020. Reporting live here in St. Cloud, Tony Langfellow, UTVS News. The Minnesota State Senate is working to get drivers to keep their eyes on the road by implementing a hands-free law for cell phone use. The best thing to do? Keep your phone in your pocket. In the 21st century, more often than not, you see everyone looking down at their cell phones.
Texting and driving and being on the cell phone, it's obviously it's a new addiction for everybody.
Even while people are driving. So that's why Minnesota legislation is trying to pass a new law that would forbid drivers from even holding their phone to their ear.
You still can use your phone, it just has to be attached to the car and you can touch it once, like to answer. And so that seemed like a good compromise. I think that one's going to sail through, and I think likely will have large bipartisan support.
The current law states that drivers cannot compose, read, or send electronic messages, but it says that it's all right to make a phone call. And the new law is also going to have stronger penalties if you're caught texting and driving.
Being on those phones while you're in your vehicle, it's kind of like the new drunk driving. I mean, you do not have the ability to stay focused on your driving and stay focused on your phone at the same time.
The proposal argues that taking your hands off the wheel and your eyes off the road to pick up your phone causes accidents that lead to injury or even death. So it's just not worth it.
You can take somebody's life away, you're on the road, and then it takes a split second, once you start looking at your phone, you don't know what's going on in front of you, and then boom, tragedy.
I think it's an epidemic. I think everybody does it, and it's this thing that everyone thinks is okay, but it's actually not okay.
Although the pending law may seem like a no-brainer, Senator Ron Latz thinks it will be unrealistic for police officers to detect.
How do you determine how impaired someone is while they're on the phone? If they're having a conversation, but they're not texting. If they're touching the GPS device once or twice to recenter it.
Whether it's something that police can see or not, it's important to keep everyone safe while on the roads.
So this is something that is injuring and causing property damage, it's causing death, and so we have to address it. We didn't have this problem 20 years ago. 20 years ago, not everyone had a cell phone in their hand.
In St. Cloud, Tony Langfellow, UTVS News. One child is dead while 45 others are injured after a bus crash in Arkansas. Well, more excitement going on at St. Cloud State University today with a name dedication ceremony for one of the buildings at SCSU. Formerly known as the 51 building. Well, Black Friday is approaching and the crowds of shoppers can sometimes feel like massive herds of cattle. That was literally the case in one Texas mall yesterday as Cowboys in Fort Worth. Fertilizer company CHS says it fired an employee responsible for intentional misconduct. All right, well, in studio now is Noah Cote to tell us more of whether or not it's going to be cold or warm this week for Thanksgiving. Noah? Well, as final votes are tallied around the country, voters in Minnesota have chosen who they want at the helm. More news from the University of Minnesota. Rising numbers of sexual assaults on campus have sparked conversations. A car accident in Stearns County resulted in a man being trapped in his car for 6 hours.
Also had a half-court shot at the buzzer. That was pretty cool, I heard.
And it was Dollar Dog Night, too.
It was. So, I'm really sad I missed that, actually.
What do you care about?
Well, yeah, that's why I went, right? Minnesota election judges are testing ballot machines to make sure the November election goes smoothly. At his post-election news conference earlier today, President Donald Trump praised the Republican Party for its 2-seat gain in the Senate. IKEA is recalling over 17 million dressers after multiple reports of child deaths. The recall includes 3-drawer, 4-drawer, and 5-drawer models. ExxonMobil says it's spending around $300 million on pollution control technology at several of its plants near the Gulf Coast. A historic theater has officially been around for 50 years. Chanhassen Dinner Theater celebrated its 50th birthday last Friday. Wow, Noah, every time I see you, I like seeing you less and less because these temperatures just keep going down.